Tonight on 2020,
Where is Trump?
Explosive new discoveries in one of the country's most high-profile missing persons cases.
A major development in one of the biggest murder cases of the last 2 decades.
Chandra Levy, the D.C. intern found dead in a park.
This is where she either fell down, was pushed down, or rolled down.
How you doing?
The Congressman Gary Condit under suspicion.
How come she calls your office so often?
But now, 15 years later,
playing out like the plot of a crime drama.
2020 with the crime scene video never before seen publicly. Voicemails never heard.
Things are looking pretty good for me today anyway.
And a bombshell twist from a mysterious whistleblower.
Aren't you terrified hearing somebody describe how they killed people?
Here's Deborah Roberts.
It's not Ford's Theater or the Watergate Hotel, but this simple storage unit may soon claim its own place in the criminal history of Washington, D.C. This is the place. Where did you put the recorder?
I had the recorder right here behind that plastic bin.
It was right here that this woman, speaking on camera for the first time, set up a bizarre amateur sting operation which would upend one of D.C.'s most famous murder cases, and she says endanger her own life.
I honestly thought, he's going to kill me.
We're talking about the notorious Chandra Levy case.
This case had everything. It had power, it had sex, it had the nation's capital, it had a young woman on the rise.
And now, because of this woman, the man once convicted of the murder will walk free. Do you regret making those recordings?
I had that recorder because my gut instinct told me something was really wrong and something terribly could happen.
Tonight, for the first time, you'll hear her story. Hear from that suspected killer himself. We're on our way to meet the man many are convinced attacked and killed Chandra Levy. And something else you've never heard.
Sorry, I haven't heard from you.
Actual voicemail recordings from the congressman at the center of Chandra's story.
It's 11:45. Sorry, I've been tied up the last 2 days. So you already know that.
In fact, we'll begin right there with what Condit left on 24-year-old Levy's home answering machine on a night in early May 2001.
Maybe you're out of the country or something. Anyway, give me a call to pick up this message.
The Democrat of Central California is wondering where Chandra is, and he's not the only one.
I called up, and then she didn't answer.
Bob Levy, an oncologist, and wife Susan are expecting their 24-year-old daughter back home in Modesto, California.
She was shy. She really liked being at home.
Yet her daughter was ambitious, dreaming of a career in law enforcement.
You sound like you're very content with the program and everything.
Oh, yeah.
She'd even volunteered at her local police department before heading to the nation's capital.
She got the internship, Department of Prisons there, and I think she was interested in going to the FBI.
The FBI would be in Chandra's future, but not in the way she imagined. After 9 months in D.C., the internship is over. Chandra cancels her gym membership and emails her landlord that she's heading back to California.
Then I called again, then on the weekend, she didn't answer.
5 days pass with no word. Chandra's anxious parents call police, who head to her apartment and make some noteworthy discoveries.
It appeared to the police she was packed up, ready to go home.
FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett, now an ABC News consultant, worked the Levy case for years.
Her driver's license, her credit cards,
Her cell phone?
and her cell phone were still in the apartment. That's baffling to me and others, because the whole idea is when you're going to leave, you're at least going to take an ID. There were only 2 things missing: her keys and a ring.
A gold ring with her initials CL in diamonds, a college graduation gift from her parents.
What are you hearing from the police?
Well, they were sort of nonchalant because what can they do?
Police do canvass the area, including nearby Rock Creek Park. And Susan Levy begins her own search, looking through her daughter's cell phone bill.
I saw this number that was being called many, many, many times. I decided to call that number, and it turned out to be Gary Condit, and he answered the phone.
And what did you say?
And I was kind of surprised, and I said, "Do you know where my daughter is?" And I thought to myself, this is wrong.
Yeah,
Come on in and make yourself home in my office, and I'll be back. Give me 10 minutes. Okay, I'll be right back.
But why exactly was the congressman, a minister's son and married father of 2, calling a young intern to get together?
Give me a call. Give me a rundown on kind of what your schedule is. Things are looking pretty good for me today. Anyway, bye.
Condit's always maintained he cooperated with police and voluntarily came in for questioning. But former D.C. Chief of Detectives Jack Barrett believes Condit was being coy.
He admitted to the detectives that first night that they were dating. We didn't know whether it was a friendly relationship. We didn't know if it was a sexual relationship.
He didn't admit that he had a sexual relationship with her.
He did not.
Word soon leaks that Condit and Levy did have something going on. She'd even dropped hints to her family. Listen to this home video.
Terrence also on adventures in D.C., the Bureau of Prisons, and a congressman's friend.
And Chandra had vaguely described a romance to her co-worker, Sven Jones.
When she spoke of her relationship, she never offered a name. She just said, powerful person. Someone who she was in love with. Someone who she could see making a life with.
Talk of a congressional sex scandal sets off a media firestorm.
Police have questioned Congressman Gary Condit, who has reportedly said Levy spent some time in his Washington, D.C. area condo.
In front of Gary Condit's office, the whole street was blocked off with TV trucks every day. Out in front of the Levy's house, the same thing, TV trucks, camera crews.
Were you wondering or worrying for a second whether your father was somehow implicated in this?
No, I knew he wasn't. I knew he had done nothing wrong, illegally wrong. When folks start calling my dad a murderer, it's wrong.
Chad is Condit's eldest child, a top aide to the governor of California when the Levy case broke.
He hadn't hurt her, hadn't obstructed justice, told the law enforcement people from the start what the deal was.
The Levys aren't buying it and take their suspicions public.
We would ask Congressman Condit and anybody else with information to please come forward. Please cooperate with the police.
Condit, do you know anything about where Chandra Levy is?
From the very beginning, he was trying to protect his professional reputation as a congressman.
Excuse me.
He was the one that created this problem for himself. We had no place to turn other than to try and focus on him.
Congressman, why won't you take a polygraph?
It becomes the summer of Condit. American TV's saturated with daily images of the gaunt congressman, grinning through clenched teeth as he tries to maintain a facade of normalcy.
Wish I would have gave him better advice. I mean, I wish somebody would have. You have a relationship of friendship that is hard to explain.
Yet his dad will have some more explaining to do.
Did you urge Anne-Marie Smith to lie?
People come forward alleging Condit had relationships with other women. He declines to discuss those allegations.
And we identified a number of women that were dating him while he was here in D.C. and his family was back in California.
The floodgates are open. Where is Chandra? Protests call for Condit's resignation. Up next, while police aren't turning up any breaks in the case,
Okay, folks, we are ready to go.
Condit turns up on television for a historically awkward interview on ABC.
Congressman Condit, do you know what happened to Chandra Levy?
What a twisted tale already. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Elizabeth Vargas. That question, what happened to Chandra Levy, was going to be front and center at an all-new trial taking place right now. But that trial was scuttled because of the stunning new information you're about to hear.
An explosive new 7-hour recording that has turned a case that was solved into a mystery all over again. So join us right here tonight as we take you into Rock Creek Park, video never seen before, right from the crime scene.
How you doing?
It's the summer of 2001, and Gary Condit's role in the Chandra Levy case is blocking out the sun.
So the pressure is mounting on Congressman Condit.
The parents turn up the heat on Gary Condit.
The story was a congressman with an intern. It wasn't the story about this poor girl being missing and all these families being destroyed over this.
Posters of the young intern are plastered from the Potomac to Capitol Hill. Her parents determined to keep their missing daughter in the public eye.
Where is Chandra?
They make the rounds on television.
We just want her back.
But it's not easy to maintain a brave face.
Help us. Help us find her.
That's Dr. Levy breaking down on ABC Sacramento affiliate KXTV. Police continue grilling the congressman, trying to tamp down the speculation.
The congressman was not a suspect before the meeting, he was not a suspect during the meeting, and he is not a suspect since the meeting.
Yet the Levys are convinced that Condit not only committed adultery, but perhaps something much worse.
I urge him, if he does have any information, please be man enough to step forward.
Hoping to change the narrative, Condit agrees to a national television interview with ABC's Connie Chung.
He felt as if I was interrogating him under a hot light. In many ways, I was.
24 million people watched the interview. It went a lot like this.
Congressman Condit, do you know what happened to Chandra Levy?
No, I do not.
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
No, I didn't.
Did you kill Chandra Levy?
I did not. We had a close relationship. I liked her very much.
May I ask you, was it a sexual relationship?
Well, Connie, I've been married for 34 years, and I've not been a perfect man, and I've made my share of mistakes. But out of respect for my family and out of a specific request from the Levy family, I think it's best that I not get into those details about Chandra Levy.
Was that respect for you?
I laughed about it because I thought it was so false, phony.
It's just his way of weaseling out of it.
It was preposterous. You just have to shake your head and say, why would he even agree to do the interview if he's not going to be forthcoming?
All new Dr. Phil.
Just last week, Condit gave his first interview in 14 years to Dr. Phil.
Came by your condo once?
Well, maybe twice.
He may have looked somewhat different, but he sounded pretty much the same.
Why is it you will not answer publicly whether or not you had a sexual relationship with Chandra Levy?
I haven't, answered that question publicly for 15 years, and I'm not going to change my position or my view on that today.
But if Condit is reluctant to speak frankly, the forensic evidence speaks for itself.
Chandra Levy's panties, taken from her apartment shortly after her disappearance, contained bodily fluids. DNA tests determined the fluids came from Gary Condit.
And yet, think what you will of Gary Condit, there's no evidence he was involved in Chandra Levy's disappearance.
Most of us in the police department and the FBI agreed that he was not our suspect and that we needed to be looking elsewhere.
The case of the missing Washington intern.
As the case continues to dominate the news, it seems nothing can trump the story of the missing intern and her friendly congressman. Until, of course, something does.
And then September 11 happens. What happened to you and your investigation and your detectives?
The media attention went away. We lost a big helping hand with the FBI because the devotion of resources to terrorism, things changed dramatically.
With the world's attention diverted, the Levys are left with little to go on.
Because there's no body, you still hope she's alive somewhere, like with any missing person. That's all you got is hope.
As the case loses momentum,
Gary Condit lost his congressional seat.
Condit loses his bid for re-election to nobody's surprise.
Very difficult to win a race when you're being accused of murder.
It's been a great opportunity to be in public service.
Weeks later, a striking coincidence. Award-winning Washington Post reporter Sari Horowitz is revisiting the now cold case of the missing intern.
I arranged a breakfast with a police official, and during the breakfast, his pager just started going off.
Then a timely break that a reporter can only dream of.
And when he came back, he had this stunned look on his face. And he said, "You're not gonna believe this, but I just got a call, and they think they found Chandra Levy's remains in Rock Creek Park."
The remains lay in a remote section of Washington's largest park, 5 miles from Chandra's apartment.
Finally, they discover her body in Rock Creek Park. Huge park.
Huge park. Twice as big as Central Park in New York City.
The gruesome discovery made by a park regular.
Yes, I was walking my dog and I came across a human skull.
This is actual crime scene video, never before seen publicly. Those are Chandra's Reebok sneakers and her jogging pants tied in knots, which will lead investigators to believe this was no accident. but no sighting of her gold ring.
We cried.
Yeah, cried a lot.
Screamed and cried.
Yeah.
You can't imagine to have your child laying out there. It seems so unfair.
For detectives, the discovery brings relief, but also embarrassment.
This is something that we all have to live with. There may have been DNA evidence that all that was lost because of the fact that we were unable to locate her remains during the time that we were searching the park.
The remains found 79 yards off a dirt path down a sharply steep embankment. Police had searched 100 yards off all paved roads. Had they searched 100 yards off all foot trails too, they may have found Chandra's body, DNA intact, months earlier.
Some people see that as evidence of ineptitude on the part of the police. Is that fair?
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Critics say it wasn't to be the only police blunder. Days after Levy's disappearance, an untrained officer tried going through her computer and accidentally corrupted the data, which would have shown Levy had researched Rock Creek Park. And on top of that, another oversight at her apartment building.
What about the surveillance camera of her building? So many times people look to see who came and went in a building.
Things like surveillance cameras, unless you go and initially grab them or tell the management to hold them, they erase or disappear. And unfortunately, that's what happened in this case.
At least now the Levys can have a memorial and lay their beloved daughter to rest.
She was a quiet but very powerful force, very smart and funny. I felt like she was going somewhere. It was just really disheartening.
When we come back, police find more secrets in the park and set sights on a new man. Will there be justice for Chandra?
When we get 2 attacks on women by a guy with a knife in a short distance to where Levy's body was found, that stands out like a neon sign.
And for the first time, the voice of the witness who could both make and break the case.
He told me he didn't know he killed her. It was an accident.